Hi, this is Court, and I'm today answering a question sent to me by aesky on Reddit. And he's asking me about the drop synth on Disclosures Help Me Lose My Mind, the Mazde remix, which sounds like this for reference. Pretty cool, like what they're doing with voices, like the sound of the kick and all that jazz. But anyway, so right here I've just kind of recreated the first measure of that. And I'd like you to notice one thing first off, because it's going to be kind of a central idea to what we're doing. There are a lot of voices here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voices all going on. And what we're basically going to be doing is building a synth called a Unison synth. And we're going to do some amplitude modulation on the way out via an LFO. So basically, you have all these voices playing up against each other, and there's just like a slight amount of phasing between them. So it kind of gives it this nice kind of chorus timbre. And pretty standard synth. There are probably other tutorials out there, but I'm just going to show you sort of an easy way to do it and just kind of get the tutorial working in the vein of the song we're working on. All right, so anyway, so here's a patch of analog. Oops, shoot, way up there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into this amplitude curve, and we're just going to square it out so things are a little punchier. And then I'm going to go into the filter. This is a little thing I'm just doing to taste. It has a very soft attack on that track. So I want to make sure that as my LFO is modulating, I never hit like a measure with like a really hard attack. So let's hear what that sounds like in context. So there's our first measure. And then basically I'm going to change the second wave to a square. So these are changing this. These are, you know, reproducing the same pitch, but they're slightly different timbres, so there's going to be a tiny bit of phase between the two. And that's sounding cool. I'm going to go into the Unison and detune them from each other a little bit. Then I'm going to go into Unison voices, and I'm going to add more voices for even more detuning. All right, and then I'm going to go into my noise filter, and I'm going to add a little bit of high-end sizzle. Alrighty here, and I'm actually going to go get a MIDI effect, and I'm going to add some MIDI compression to this, so that way some of those notes don't stick out as much. Alright, that sounds about right. And then I'm going to go into my LFO, and I'm going to turn on both of these, put them to beat sync. I'm going to put this inside of a grouping. I'm going to map the rates to macro 1. Map. I'm going to call this LFO rate. LFO rate. I'm going to start out by putting it to eighth notes. Hold on. Let's see. And no, can you get this right? There you go. All right. And then I am just going to map those to amplitude, I guess. So I'm not going to be mapping the second one actually. So you want to go into your mapping, and it sounds like it's really bottoming out really hard. So I'm going to put the, oops, that's not what I wanted. I am going to change this a little bit. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go into audio effects, and we're going to grab an instance of EQ8. Boom. And we're going to bump the lows a little bit. And then we're going to add a little high pass filter. Oops. So we want this to be high passing, so that way we don't get too much phasing in the low end. All right, that's all sounding cool. And then we're going to add an instance of saturator to kind of bring out the high end sizzle. So it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to maybe put a soft clip on. I don't know. All right, so obviously it's not perfect, but the idea is that he is going into his modulation tab right here, and then he's just modulating the LFO rate to whatever the rhythm is. And I'm not going to pick that out because I think people will get the ideas just from this. Now you can kind of go in and you can draw curves, and you can get the modulation rate moving to kind of pump that up. So I hope this was helpful.